Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Inside Plano, our city podcast. Today, I have with me some very special guests to talk about the Plano-area Summer Internship Program. We have Amber Zuckerman with the program and Krisha Aswani from Lincoln Property Company. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right. Well, for all of our listeners here who don't know what this program is, Amber, why don't you start by telling us, what is this program about?
So the Plano-area Summer Internship Program was founded back in 2014 by the former mayor, Mayor Hayley, as a program really to give high school students, rising juniors and seniors in Plano ISD, an opportunity to see what life is like in the business community, the corporate community, and even nonprofits. So the program really takes these students, we take them through an entire opportunity to get trained and prepare themselves so that they can see what it's like to start their journey as a professional.
So you mentioned the start date. That's over a decade. We've now had over 1,000 interns do this program.
Yep.
What's changed in the program over the time? Like what's evolved and maybe improved since the beginning?
I think continually the great thing about Plano is our corporate community, our partners, they continue to evolve and they really continue to just support this program and find new ways to challenge the students when they're in their internships, which has been great. Here recently, we've launched an alumni program, which Krisha's going to get to talk about here in a few minutes. But you know, as pulling back and identifying how can we keep our students engaged and give them that young professionals network after they've come through the program, started their careers here in Plano, in North Texas, how can they reconnect? So that's one of the newer things that we're really piloting and trying to figure out how to engage and give those students an opportunity to be the young professionals.
So we know Plano is definitely a place for a lot of corporate headquarters, different businesses. Is this kind of a way to potentially keep Plano students in Plano after they graduate?
Absolutely. You know, the most important thing we have to focus on is the economic development that Plano continues to bring and grow with here. Well, they've got to have a workforce, and we are building that workforce through this program and making sure that our students are prepared for the wonderful employers we do have here, again, both on the corporate and the nonprofit space, and giving those employers the opportunity to see what our school district is actually producing for their talent pipelines. There's no reason to go looking outside of what we have right here, and we hope that our students do come back and work here and live here and make Plano their home.
Well, we've got exactly that in-house right now with Krisha. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what attracted you to the program to make you want to join the Plano-area Summer Internship Program?
Yeah, so I joined, this was my junior year going into my senior year of high school. So I kind of just remember it was my two best friends, and one of them had already done the program the year before. And she was kind of like, hey, do you want to do this program with me? It's really cool. And I'd never heard of it. So I remember just kind of like going online, checking out the website. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, I mean, this is such a great way to expose myself, see what's out there, see what I like, and maybe just see what it turns out to be. So I just remember going to the first event with her, and I was like, this is what I wanted. Like, I need to be involved in this. This is so awesome, and I never knew that Plano did this. So that's kind of also why I'm here, like just to give that exposure about to the kids that don't know what Plano-area's internship program is. So that's how I first got myself started.
So one thing we really haven't talked about is everyone who applies may not get an actual internship,
right,
but they're still getting prepared. What is the expectation for anyone who applies?
Absolutely. So we take the first 300 applicants and we put them through rigorous training. LOL. Rigorous in that we are giving them a full day of soft skills training, and working with them on their resumes, working with them on mock interviews and interview skills, preparing them for that job fair or the interview day that we have. So that first 300, they're going to come in, they're going to get all of that, they're going to go through their job fair, they're going to have 2 to 3 interviews with different companies, and then those companies make that decision on who they want to hire, and from there, unfortunately, several students don't get an internship, but they get that opportunity to see what it's like and get those initial nerves of applying for your first professional job out of the way, which is awesome. So they're really they're gaining no matter whether they receive the internship or they don't. And then I'm just going to go on and say that we just started another program called Discovery Days, really allowing students who did not get an internship to still get a half day or a full day at some of these companies who are willing to host a Discovery Day. So it's a newer program that we're really trying to see if we can continue to serve the learning journey for the students who didn't receive an internship. So,
Well, as the mother of a sophomore right now who will be a rising junior, thank you. Pray for me.
good luck. Yes. I have a junior in high school right now, so good luck.
Yeah, she turned 16 in a week, so
I'm with you.
But as I say that, between COVID and just social media and the state of things, she really does not have all of those skills for interviewing in personal relationships that we were raised with.
Yeah.
So how does this help with people like my daughter?
We see that all the time, and my son as well falls in that same exact category. Getting them out of their shell, it's all in there. We just really have to break the surface and allow it to come out and build that confidence. That is the number one thing we hear from our students is, I didn't know I had that in me. I didn't know I could, and you showed me that I could. I didn't show them that they could. They did it themselves. It's just somebody believing in them, taking that moment to say, you can do this. I believe you can do this. And then they find it within themselves. And so it's not me. It is our employers, the mentors in the program, all throughout. Our city council and our mayor show up time and time again to reinforce and encourage these students in ways that it's just so endearing. As I watch them walk around and visit with them, it's just, I don't know, maybe you have something to add there.
Yeah, no, so I think the biggest thing is just encouraging them. I mean, this is obviously like in school, you're not taught to interview, you're not taught to like do your resume and how to build it, what a LinkedIn is. So there's so many things that it's just so new to them. Meanwhile, for us in the corporate world, it's like, oh, like we do this every day. We sit and scroll on LinkedIn while y'all are on Instagram. But I just think it's really cool to be the person and be like, hey, like these are skills that I literally see in you, take pride in that, build confidence off of that, and just encouraging them and just let them be confident in their own self.
Yeah. So, Krisha, for you as someone who was one of the interns, what was the biggest challenge that you found while you did the program?
I think the biggest challenge, I mean, it's a competitive program. I mean, you're around so many talented, Plano's great schools. There's so many great people. Everyone's so intelligent. So I think that was like the hardest part. It was like, oh my gosh, like I'm competing with like the best kids in all of Plano schools. Like this is really hard. But at the end of the day, like it's not your grades. You're really just saying like, these are my skills. I'm here to learn. And that's just what we want to see as employers too, that you're willing to learn and be open-minded.
Well, the best thing about having you here is now you're on the other side of it. So this is a real, true, full circle moment for you. Tell us about that. Your journey.
It's super cool. I never thought that I would be here years later. So obviously I did this back in 2019. So I did my internship in property management over at Legacy Tower. And I love my internship. I never would have gotten exposed to property management unless it was for this internship. And then after that, I went to UTD. I studied IT because I thought that was what I wanted to do. And I obviously finished high school my COVID year. So there was really no one telling me like, hey, like maybe this is like some mentorship that you can go through, like with your skills and stuff. And then after I did a couple internships within IT and graduated, I was like, okay, wait, this is like not really where I see myself. And I came back to property management because I was like, I again, never would have gotten exposed to it unless it was for my internship. So truly very grateful for it. Super cool, full moment. And also now getting to be the person that interviews these kids when we hire for our summer interns. It's really a pleasure and it's really cool to see.
Okay, so maybe this will help any of our listeners. When you are interviewing students for an internship, what are you looking for?
That you're open to learn. Even in me, I was like, okay, well, do I want to do property management? Like, I've never heard of that. And there's no one in my family who's in it. I don't have any exposure to it. So I think the biggest thing is being open to learn, having an open mind, just being confident that you can bring skills to the table, regardless of what they are. Everyone has their own skills. And their strengths, and just, again, being open-minded to learning. That's kind of the biggest thing.
So you're with Lincoln Property Company. Tell us, as you're leading these interns, have you ever had a case of a student who they had an aha moment during this internship where you're like, this makes it worth it for me?
Yes, so this is a really cool story. So one of my summer interns previous summer, he wrote his college essay based upon an experience that we had in our building. And he even showed me his essay. And I was like, being the person that does this every day, I never would have thought that you would have caught a moment like this. But I'll like very briefly. So we had a broker tour coming into a building. So obviously we try to make our building look spotless and just looking the best of the best. And for him, he was like, this is so like, we're here every day, so we don't think of the little details. Meanwhile, when somebody else comes in, they can pick upon on little things that we're not seeing. So that was his aha moment, like details matter. And, you know, it's so important to, I guess, be picky. It's okay to be picky on things. And so I think that was like a really cool story that he wrote.
The devil's in the details.
Yeah.
I always tell people the devil is in the details, and you have to, you know, it's okay to nitpick.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and especially when you're competing with a lot of great students from Plano ISD, because we do have such a good school system, that you really do have to pay attention to how you get along with people, what you say matters, how you appear matters, how your confidence, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah.
I will add too, I was just recently with some students in high schools visiting with them, and I would do this exercise where I would just, let's pretend like you're in an interview, and even it begins with the handshake. So many would be like, hi, like, no, a solid handshake, eye contact, like that is the beginning of so much of what we do as professionals, but just as human interaction is a friendly smile, eye contact, and a handshake. So we start at that detail in our training. And so I think that helps to build that confidence overall.
I'm going to ask that too. I think it's really cool. So this year we did like a little fashion show. So we showed the difference between like business formal, business professional, how you show up to work, because these kids literally don't know what that means. So I thought that was also a really cool thing that we touch upon and focus on.
Mm-hmm. It's surprising who you'll see in interviews if they haven't had any preparation.
Yes.
And they don't know.
Yep.
So this is very valuable.
It is.
So talk to us about, this is different from a normal summer job that a teenager would typically get. Tell us, what are the differences between the Plano Mayor Summer Internship Program and a regular summer job?
Yeah, so I'll start, and maybe you can jump into. You know, at the core of it, again, we're providing that upfront training and getting them prepared for their experience. So not only do we do the interview prep, but we also spend another day full training with the interns who receive an internship. So they get an additional day of building that confidence, learning how to use something as simple as Teams, something I didn't realize that people don't know how to use, but there's no reason for them to know. They know how to use Zoom because they had to do that in school for COVID. But, you know, just giving them that extra day and layer of training. And I'm going to venture out to say, and forgive me if it's not 100% accurate, but we pay $13 an hour as a minimum, which I think is above where most summer jobs for somebody who's 16 is going to get paid. So this is life-changing. This is something that truly can be an economic mobility opportunity for these students who maybe they need this opportunity, this job, this money for their family and for their future. Most of the time I hear, I'm going to buy a car. I love the students who say, I'm taking my mom out for ice cream for the first time I get to pay, because they'll have their own money. So little things like that, but they're really getting that opportunity. And then on top of that, I would say the other big difference is that mentorship that comes along with it. You know, often that first job is, I'm going to be retail, or I worked at PetSmart. I don't know about y'all, but I met my husband there, so it all worked out. But, you know, my first job was PetSmart, and Blockbuster. Now I've aged myself. But, you know, that was just very retail and very I didn't have a mentor in those positions. This opportunity really gives them that mentorship opportunity and gives them that long-term connectivity. You stayed in contact with Lincoln Properties all through your career, through your college. And so it gives them that long-term mentorship that also builds on their future.
I'm going to add to that too, but also the networking that you're exposed to, I think that's very unique. I mean, who in high school are you, like, there's no way I would know anyone in the corporate world. That's just not in the pipeline. Like, I remember in high school too, I was working a retail job. That was very normal for all of us to be working at Brahms and working at any of the stoneware stores. But I think the exposure and the networking that I got, so even in my 2 years ago, one of the summer interns. I mean, we were at a networking event. He did a great job, showing what he did. He worked in a landscaping company with his father, and he found something that he completely enjoyed with another vendor. And he was like, this is really cool. I would totally go work for this. Yeah. So it's just really neat to see like how these kids just find skills, find a little bit of passions here and there, and just take off with it.
Yeah.
So you both talked about how this is different from a typical retail, fast food type job. Talk to us about that difference, whether you're with a corporate or nonprofit. How does the actual day of work differ from that?
I would say it mirrors what you and I experience, in our day-to-day jobs, right? They're expected to show up and be there at 8 a.m. and be ready, bright-eyed and ready to go. They're seeing what it's like to have a water cooler conversation, if that's still a thing. They're just the general tenacity that it takes to get through an 8-hour day. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that is a little different. When you're in school, you have this very regimented schedule, whereas when you're in a job, you set your schedule to some degree. You learn how to prioritize the projects you have in front of you and the tasks that you've been asked of you. So I think that just that alone, that freedom for the students is different because they're so used to the bell rings and I move to my next class. This just gives them that other window into what it's like and what they're going to be able to learn to expect.
Yeah.
Anything you can add there?
I think even just the way of thinking, like in school, everything's graded, everything has you're putting a number on it. But here it's like we allow you guys to be creative, we allow you guys to bring your skills. Yeah. And again, if this is something that you're interested in, there's always ways that we can make it pull around and into what we're doing right now. So I think there's some really creative, smart kids out there. I mean, Canva is a big thing. I mean, before we did not have that, and now everyone that I feel like comes into the program is fluent in it. So it's really, really smart kids out there.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the applicants who make it into a job or an internship, in school, when you have clubs, everyone joins where their friends are. So you're still gathered with the same group of people. But in a job situation, that completely changes. And everyone you're with, even though they may be peers, they may be strangers. So talk about what do you see different when you have teenagers working very closely with teenagers they may not even know?
I think just the level of conversations that they're having. I think there's obviously when you're a little comfortable with your friends, your type of conversation is very different. But when you're around people that you don't know, you want to get to know them. You create a different kind of relationship. You never know what they're going to be in the future, whether that's a mentor, maybe you'll go work for them in the future. So I think just the type of conversations and how you structure them are very different than your typical friendships.
So do you think it also helps with conversations with adults in general on the professional level?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're networking questions like, what do you do? What is your favorite part of your job? You're just asking kind of what are things that this person does that maybe resonate with me, and what can I take away from this conversation? Is this a relationship I want to move forward with and maintain over time? So I think that's cool. Staying on LinkedIn, staying connected on that. So there's a lot of different ways that I think kids, when they catch something that they're interested in, that they'll maintain.
And I'll say I see students as they go through the program, when they come in initially versus when they finish, their level of comfort has definitely changed. I think it comes with that confidence, but it also comes with the acceptance that the employers and the teams that they're working with give to them, which I think is often unexpected by the students. They think, I'm going to be just asked to get coffee, or I'm going to be just asked to answer the phones. And I stress to them, you are going to be integrated into these teams just as any other team member would. And by the employers supporting that mentality and that initiative, they truly do walk out of this with a completely different way of approaching life and approaching, their perspectives on things, because they have been trusted with information. They've been trusted in conversations that they wouldn't necessarily have that exposure to. So the acceptance that these employers give to the students, and they don't treat them like a high schooler, they treat them like a colleague, is life-changing.
So we've talked a lot about the experience for students. Tell me about the experience for the actual nonprofits or the companies. What do they get out of this?
So a lot. I'd love to get my feedback every year and read about what they have experienced with their students. One of my surveys last year said that their students did a great job. They loved having them, but one of the things they loved was watching their employees find value and worth and purpose in mentoring these students. They love to see that blossom within their teams. I had one employer that came back and said that the high school student intern rivaled their college interns and actually outperformed. So I always say that's a testament to what Plano ISD is doing and the great parents that are out there that are helping the students be successful. So I think that it's just one of those things that as these employers are coming in, they are really giving a lot of value and spending a lot of time structuring these internships so that they are meaningful and they're giving real opportunities to these students, just different than anything you and I ever had the opportunity, not Krisha because she already did it, but you and I, we just didn't get this kind of opportunity. So it's really unique. It's special. I don't know of any other programs in the country that are exactly like what we're doing. So that's awesome as well. And it's really forward thinking for the City of Excellence to be leading the way in this as well. So it's been really fun to be a part of it.
And it's really, like you said, it's creating leadership opportunities for employees who may not otherwise be ready for that, right. Getting them ready to be a manager, to mentor other people.
That's right. That's right. And these employers love it. They absolutely love it. It's been a lot of fun to watch them get creative and think about, oh, well, we could maybe use an intern in this department, or hey, we could maybe take them out and expose them to this. So, students truly are, it's so much more than just coffee and phones. I tell them all the time, you're going to be really, learning valuable information.
So what do you think, if there's somebody out there who owns a business or has a company and they're not involved, what should they do to try to get involved in this program?
Call me. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to share exactly how the program is structured in more detail and figure out why, what's the right fit for you, what's your why and needing an intern, wanting an intern, and let's figure out how to make it work. It's really something that will give back to both the student and to your company. And I've only been here for a couple years, but I'm yet to find an employer who has said we're just not interested. We did it and we don't want to do it again. Even the ones who've had to sit out say, I'm so sorry, this is our reason but we're going to be back. So everybody keeps coming back. And I think it kind of goes back to your initial question of what is evolving in this program is just we're constantly getting the word out about it and making sure that people know about how they can get involved, how students can get involved, and hopefully growing. I would love to be able to say we have 300 opportunities to give to the 300 applicants. So maybe someday we will, and I'm going to have to hire Krisha to come work with me because I can't do it all by myself anymore at that point. Sorry, Sarah, I'm going to just steal her away. But so we want to grow and do it strategically and wisely with the great community that we have that's supporting it.
Okay, so for parents who may have their child now listen to this podcast, what are the steps? This is January, so we really are in kickoff season for you.
We are.
What do students need to do? Is there anything that parents can do to help their student versus letting them do it themselves?
So I'm going to say we want the student to do it themselves. So parents, have your student listen to this and then encourage them to take the first steps and lead the way themselves and go to you for guidance. And so that's one of the things I really stress with our parents is I don't want to talk to parents because guess what? If your student gets a job at Boeing, you are not going to be calling Boeing to try and negotiate any part of their internship for them. So this is really that opportunity to grow and encourage your student to blossom with their communication skills, with their responsibility and all of those things. So point number one, get your student to listen and go to our website, Plano-interns.org, and all of our details are there. All of the eligibility requirements as well as a 10-step process of how this program works is all on our website. So we want everybody to go there, if you're eligible, apply for the program. We launch every year in January, so applications go live in January. We leave it open for a couple weeks, but we always fill up very fast, so please apply early and quick if you're interested. And then from there, we're off to the races with intern prep day following along, usually in late February, early March.
So one thing I was thinking, you've got property management. There is a slew of different opportunities out there.
Yep.
How do students kind of know where they want to go if they know they may want to try this, but they don't know what they want to do yet? How do you find a good fit for them?
So on the application, they are asked to select their top 3 areas of interest. So we encourage them to get creative. I've even told students, if you know you want to be an engineer, don't select engineering. Select 3 things that you don't know anything about, and expose yourself to those, because that's what this program's about, right? Is maybe I've always been told, I sat with somebody yesterday who said, I was always told I would be a civil engineer. That is what I was going to do. And I got into it, and I absolutely did not perform well in college, and I didn't like it. And so I decided to be a photographer. And so off they went to become a photographer and do other things, and now they're in wealth management. So it's a completely different pathway. But the thing about it is explore. This is the great time to explore different careers. When they select those 3 different areas of interest, we then work on assigning the best fits based on the jobs available for them to get their interviews with. So be creative. Anything to add there?
Yeah, for sure. Don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing. I remember when I had that paper and I was like signing through, I was like, oh my gosh, why would I know? I'm interested in everything. I want to do everything here. So don't limit yourself. Like even parents, like just encourage your kid. You don't have to force them. Like your kids are bright, they will shine through. Like do not worry. Just let your kid take charge, and this is a great time to allow them to do that. Yeah. And for the kids that have done the program, come back. There is something for you. We have an alumni program. We want you guys to come back. There is involvement. There is engagement with that. So if you've done it, come back.
Come back. So talk about that for a minute. What is the alumni program?
You go ahead.
Okay, so the alumni program is something it's been around, but now we're really starting to focus on our alumni. So it's the people that have done the internship and, then they go off to college, and if you're ever back in Plano, we want you guys to be involved with us. And it's another way to help mentors, so have more mentorship to help the ones that are in high school going through the pipeline. We have different programs, so a communication one, a research committee, so we have different committees. If whatever you're interested in, you can join. And it's really just to, again, put the word out there, have more companies join, and keep our community engaged.
All right. Is there something I have not asked that y'all want to make sure is mentioned?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a Pandora's box there. Because I feel like I could talk. I get so excited about this program, and I feel like I could just talk for hours sometimes, and I have to limit myself. I guess the biggest thing to keep it short is just do it. I was so humbled. I had a student at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, we asked students to record some feedback on their process for our final video. And one student at the very end, she brought me to tears, honestly, because she said, if you're a student thinking about applying for this program, just do it. Miss Amber is there. She's like an extra mom. She will help you through whatever you need. She will make sure that you are successful. And I'm humbled that is their perspective on me as the program director. I do want to feel like a second mom. I do want to be there to help them succeed, because every single person that touches this program, from the mayor to me, to our alumni, to the employers, parents, teachers, everybody. Our whole goal is to watch these students succeed and to watch them blossom, grow in their confidence. And so if I can be a small part of their process and program, humbled as I am, but we truly just do it. Just apply. You're going to face all kinds of challenges in your life. Let this be one of the first, and learn from it. Just keep learning. That's the biggest thing I could say.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is say yes. Say yes to more things. You're going to learn something from it, whether you get an internship or you don't. You can always apply next year. But yeah, I think my biggest thing is say yes to more things. Be open-minded. Don't be scared. Don't limit yourself. You're going to do great.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I really think it gives a good idea for parents and hopefully students why they should apply and what they can expect from the program.
Yeah.
So thank you both.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having
thank you for another episode of Inside Plano. We'll see you again next time.